My name is Kirrick. I am the CEO of KoolforLife. I created KoolforLife basically to bring people together through unconditional love, through spirit, and to basically create a platform where people could come together through unification and work on and use that synergy to actually implement change in the world. So I come across different writers, different artists, different people in the world that want to change the world, and I felt like with the advice from my good friend Shay that I should implement a different perspective on KoolforLife.com, which is people out here that write books, that do art, and I would love to showcase that as well as my content and the things that I'm putting out there in the world. So today I decided to interview my man. Tell me your name.
Kamau Abayomi is the name.
Abayomi.
Peace.
Kamau Abayomi. Thus far, we're going to get to know each other in this interview, but it's based on the spiritual feeling that I have. He feels like a great brother, and I look forward to this interview. So, what's the name of your book?
The book is called God Body.
Okay.
And it's the story of how everything in existence, from all the way from the highest heights of the heavens down to the earth, down to animals, to specifically people, are all the body of God, all God itself. There's no separation. So the book is the story of a small group of individuals who live completely from that awareness and are in different phases of it. And on their own journeys, they are also guiding these younger characters into the awareness that they are also connected with all that is.
Okay.
So that's the premise of the book, and there's a lot of interesting characters and archetypes that represent different phases of spiritual growth.
Does the term God body relate to, like, you know how like they have God bodies like that, the Muslim perspective, where they have the different values of like the Nation of Islam? You know, you ever heard of that?
Yeah. So the Nation of Gods and Earths is what you're speaking to, and that's actually my foundation in learning about self and my place in the world. It comes through the Nation of Gods and Earths. And so a lot of the characters in this book were inspired by some of my brothers and sisters who I used to study with as I was learning and coming into my awareness. And so yeah, the term God body is what we called ourselves. Anybody who had knowledge of self, who knew that they were connected with God, who knew that that was an aspect that was the totality of who they were God body. And it didn't matter if they were actually a part of the Nation of Gods and Earths or not. If they were active in their awareness and living from that God self, then they were God body.
It's funny that you say that, because I think about KoolforLife and what it stands for, and the basis of it. I kind of stray away from religion myself. Like, I believe in God, I believe in a higher power, I believe in the heavens and the spirituality aspect to it. But I feel like religion itself now is kind of like a form of control, and I feel like it takes away from the people actually connecting themselves to spirit. But I think that in this world that we live in, it kind of reminds me of like the first Matrix movie, and I feel like a lot of people. I don't think that the human race or any other entity could do anything with spirit, but I do feel like you can't do something to the body and the mind. And the more you confuse the body and the mind, the more you get disconnected away from your spirit. So you don't really get to connect to your higher self, which you get all your answers and your intuition from. So I created a company basically to help bring people back through unconditional love, and then to help them understand that once they start to quiet their mind, they'll realize that all the answers that they were looking for were in them the whole time. It reminds me of this book called The Alchemist. And in The Alchemist, this guy was looking for this treasure the whole time. He was trying to find different wizards and people that knew how to alchemy is basically taking one entity and adding different variables into it. So you could take a stone that's made out of marble and then you can make it into gold. But you would have to know how to do that, understand the properties and everything else that comes along with that. But the ended perspective of the book was that he had the treasure in him the whole time.
The alchemist, the alchemy takes place within.
That's how I feel about the world. And if people start to realize the unconditional love and the spirit that they have within inside themselves, then they can use that ability to change the world, to bring their dreams to life. So it sounds like we have a lot in common.
Sure, indeed. That's the exact premise of this particular book. And it's good that you bring up that key of getting still, because that's the fundamental way in which to access that awareness of who we truly are. It's like often, and it touches on it in one of the chapters in the book, one of the characters, this girl Shauna is one of the student characters, if you will. Everybody's a student and teacher in this book, every single person. But this particular character, she lives that. She's kind of busy. She goes from dance studio to here to do this thing, and there's a point where she recognizes how people are so distracted, and they're caught up in the cycle of time and looking at watches and doing this particular thing, and because of that, they miss what's right in front of them. They miss the poetry in every single moment. They miss the creator in every moment. They miss how God manifests in every single moment, because it's always rushing from place to place. You feel me? Mm-hmm. And so, in order to see the perfection in things, to see that God's self, we have to get still. We gotta shut up. We got to tune out. We gotta turn off the TV. We gotta get off the internet. We need to remove ourselves from places that are just so busy in order to listen to what's going on within us. And so that's a key component that comes through is through meditation and being in nature and flowing as nature flows. In that way, we get in alignment with how the universe flows. Mm-hmm. And when we get in alignment with how the universe flows, then it's only natural that we're going to flow and move in accordance with our path.
I was just thinking about, I didn't get to read the book fully, but I will. But I remember from what we were talking about earlier, basically some clip notes you had gave me, was basically there was two characters in the book. One character, he had a business mindset and he understood the business world and how to maneuver in the business world. And then another character, basically he didn't go with flow, but he made flow. So he went along with the flow, but he kind of like manifested his own reality. So he took it as it came, because it's kind of like a hand on hands thing. Like when you go with the flow, you do have control over your reality, but you kind of don't know where you're going. It's like you put yourself into a precarious situation of flow.
There's two ways of looking at that, right? It's like there is when you are one with the flow, you're going with the flow, because you are the flow.
Absolutely.
And it's like this particular character, Sincere is the name of his book. He's completely aware of what's going on. Going with the flow is not just like, oh, the river's going that way, let me go with how the river's going. Okay. It's going with the flow is understanding how the river is moving and knowing how to move with it.
Okay.
That's going with the flow, as this character is represented. Because you can go with the flow and flow your ass right off a cliff and be ass out,
Absolutely.
So that's unconsciously just being, like a feather in the wind, being cast by the wind. But when you understand that you are the wind, then you can go with the flow if the flow is going in a direction that is conducive to the growth and expansion and leasing. Or you can go with the flow that leads you away from that wind to go in a different way, to not be, in that. So it's just about being in tune with yourself and knowing yourself. Whenever you are in tune with yourself, you're always going with the flow, even when that flow is an ebb. You know what I mean? So you know when to go, you know when to stop.
Absolutely. So what do you say to the people that we live in a society that actually pushes you into their flow, right? So they create a flow for you.
Yes.
And all right, I'm 32 years old. I've been on a spiritual journey that has kind of been enhanced since I was 27. Once that came, I think I was taking care of my grandfather. He had dementia with the help of my aunt and some other family members. And when he passed away, I decided to go back to school. And school is where I created KoolforLife at. It started off as a blog site, me just giving off the information that I was retaining and doing papers and things of that nature. So, almost lost my train of thought, but it's still there. So, when I started to experience the spirituality journey, I started to see that I needed the time to actually to start to break my mind down. Like the new illiterate of the 21st century are no longer people that can't read or write. It's people that can't learn to unlearn. So basically I had to unlearn all the things that I was taught, how I ate, how I view spirituality, how I view different things in my life. And in that process, I started to understand my purpose, and then I started to go at it and just jumped in and dived into my dreams. But in that perspective, I also had my family members that made me go to private school when I was younger, and they gave me certain discipline, and we didn't have cable in our household, so I had to find other things to do outside, and then I had to connect with nature. So like you said, going with the ebb and flow of it, I found myself in that. But what I noticed, unlike a lot of my other friends and predecessors and people that surround me, they don't take that time to get that quiet mind. They don't take that time to figure out their purpose, because the way the world is set up, they have to consistently work. Then they might have a family, then they might be dealing with some family issues, or just watching the news. Or now you have technology where basically it's taking over the world. So you have people that they don't read, they don't really spend time with their family, but they hold their phone in their hands all day. That makes it even harder for you to connect with self. So what do you say to those people? How would you advise them to quiet their minds and to get in that ebb and flow?
I would advise step by step. We all got the same amount of time in the day. You know, the sun, wherever we are on the planet, is gonna take the same amount of time to travel across that sky, or should I say the earth to rotate. You know, and it's how we utilize our time that determines what happens with our day, right? So oftentimes people will say, oh, I can't do it. And I remember when I was learning meditation, I tried it. First time I tried to learn meditation, I sit down, close my eyes, do a thing, 5 minutes. I'm like, oh, I can't do it. My mind is all over the place. 5 minutes. And I was like, I can't do it. It's longer than that, you know, when you're learning. So I advise people to take it step by step. When you wake up first thing in the morning, you know, prioritize that quiet space in the same way you prioritize lunch, or, you know, prioritize, you know, how much time you spent putting your clothes together, whatever it is. You got to prioritize it. Mm-hmm. If you don't, then of course you're not going to have the time, or you'll use the excuse that you don't have time, but you actually do. So, you know, you can wake up, even before you get out of bed, before you do anything, you can take those moments, even if it's just, you know, 30 seconds, to just tune in, to breathe, be present, you know, be fully aware, then step out into your day. During the course of, you know, you brushing your teeth, you can do it in a way where you're completely present with just brushing your teeth. You're not thinking about, oh God, I gotta do this, I gotta do this. You're not there yet, you feel me? So you utilize every complete moment as a means to tune into yourself. You do that through the course of the day, then you'll recognize that it'll be a little bit easier. So in the course, if you start simple, in the course of the day, you do that. In the middle of the day, say you take a lunch break or whatever. If you're at school, you take lunch. If you go to work, you have a lunch break. You get one. You take that little minute or 2 minutes before you go eat to just tune in, to just be still, and then go get your food. You know, those little moments, they add up when you do them consistently, and then you'll find you'll be able to do not just a minute, but you extend it 3 minutes, then 5 minutes, then 10 minutes. Then you're like, damn, I like this. You know, this is what I'm feeling, and then you'll even more prioritize time for it. Then you find you can do 20 minutes or 30 minutes. You know, so you start with small little steps where you can and do it. And so often people who have, you know, they go from one place and they got to do family or kids and job and all these things. I completely understand it's a lot to work with, but even within that, there are always moments to just be still, even if it's just for 3 deep breaths, and then continue your day.
Yeah, you touched on some great points, and I would just also add to that that we live in a world where we put so many other things over our peace of mind. Like I think that the fact that so many people can't quiet their minds, that's a mental illness. And since so many people have the mental illness, it's like some type of epidemic now. Because if more people were able to quiet their minds and able to take that time and prioritize that time to understand their importance. But in the same way, it's like food, for example. It's like people that eat Popeyes and McDonald's and Burger King. Sure. They know it's bad in some way, shape, or form, but they want that quick fix.
It's like an addiction too, yes. You know. And it's the same with like information, and this is a thing people should know in terms of why there's so much going on in our brains, because we are constantly feeding this stuff, constantly information, like especially the information nowadays on the internet. If you turn on TV, whatever, everything is just so much information, and even if people don't consciously pick it all up, the subconscious is taking it in. So then when it's time to go to sleep and the lights go down and there's not so much noise around, then your mind is just chattering away because it's now playing back all the information that's coming in that you may not even be consciously aware of. It's putting in all these things that are just pushed down. It just starts coming up. And so to reverse that effect, to slow down that process, we have to redirect our focus. You know, it's like we don't focus on the phone. We don't focus on, I got to do this, being in the future. We don't focus on what already happened in the past, because neither one of them truly exists.
No.
We bring everything right to the present moment. What's happening right now? Right now, I'm sitting here, I'm having an interview with you, I'm hollering with them, and I'm going to just breathe and keep my breath going. So now if none of this was here, if you weren't here, if the camera wasn't here, if nothing was in here, I just focus on my breath. That's it. And that's how I get purely present. And oftentimes people try to do that and the mind keeps going, the mind going. You bring it, it's not about forcing the thoughts away. It's just about bringing it back to the breath, because the breath is the breath of life. That's the one thing we just do. We don't try to breathe, we just breathe.
Absolutely.
You know, and so if we can come back to that and bring our focus there, everything becomes a lot smoother, a lot easier.
I agree, and I think that this world is predicated on it's so fast, and we use time as a basis of like hours and minutes and seconds, and we find that we get lost in our like other people's dreams, or we get lost in the system. And I think that like it's kind of like it's like, you know how like you want to be well-rounded as a person, like you don't want to just be good in some areas. And I think that to get to this enlightened stage in your life where you are able to go with the ebb and flow, it's like you kind of have to take away a lot of the cancerous things that's holding your mind back. Because even if you find that peace within the hour of you brushing your teeth or while you're eating, if you're eating bad stuff, if you're hanging around bad people, if you continue to watch TV, play on your phone, if you do all of these things, it's not going to be enough for you to actually change that, you know?
Right. So this is the key, right? And so this is the kind of the cool shit about it. It's the cool shit right here, right? If you start doing that, your perspective on everything that you're doing shifts.
Okay.
Because you are now aware. You're fully present and you're aware. So if I'm fully aware I'm brushing my teeth, I might become aware that, fuck, this tooth right here needs some work. If I'm just like, I gotta go to work, I'm not even aware of what's happening right here, right? And then I can bring focus to it. If I'm breathing at lunch and I'm becoming completely present, then when it feels good, right?
Yeah.
It feels good, right? So when I go to my lunch counter, and if I get my normal chips, after I've just done some deep breathing, I'm going to feel the effect of what I'm putting into my body a lot clearer, because I've just oxygenated it. I've just become aware of it.
Yeah,
so these type of things, it's like step by step, you do these things, then your perspective shifts and you start just noticing things a little bit different. You notice how certain energies affect you, how certain people affect you. And then from that awareness, you're being a more conscious choice to make a choice how to move that. You know how to move against that. Is this person beneficial? Is that food beneficial? I don't know, because I'm present.
I agree, because I had a similar situation when I took on being a vegan. And as I became a vegan, the first couple of weeks were very hard because I was trained to eat food a certain way. But as I started to fight those urges and started to understand and respect the process, then you started to realize of how aware of everything that you eat. Like, so when you go into supermarkets, how you look at foods, or when you're about to buy a bag of chips or get the little Debbie snack, you look on the back of the packaging like, oh my God, what are these words? I can't even pronounce some of these words. That means I shouldn't be eating this stuff. So absolutely what you said, when you start to take that breath and you start to change your perspective, things start to look differently, and then you make more changes as well. So to my viewers and to anybody that's watching this, it would seem that this book, God Body, would give a great perspective. And I remember in school we called it the labyrinth walk. And in the labyrinth walk, it was about an inner journey. And when you took that inner journey in your spirit and in your mind, and you found your peace, then you were able to move more and ebb and flow in the world, and things started to come alive, and you started to see things that you didn't see before. So to connect that with Cool for Life, that's also what Cool for Life is all about. Cool for Life is about bringing people together through unconditional love, and then showing people that in one way, shape, or form that we're all family. I believe that it's not just the TVs or the bad food or the vaccinations. It's also the fact that we forgot that we're family. And it's something about like you could take it, but it's human nature when you're walking to see somebody fall. If a lady fell off the bus, or if somebody was about to get hit, like move out the way. Like it's just something that's so innate about that versus not doing anything. That seems more like of an embedded tool to like just look past it. Like, oh my God, this lady just fell. I gotta go. I'm late for work. So that means that we have to unlearn that stuff, you know, and that means that we have to we need people like ourselves. We need books like this. We need companies, and I think that Cool for Life is more of a lifestyle. It is a company. It is a clothing line. I do write blogs. I do go in schools and speak to the kids, but I want them to change their lifestyle.
Right.
And once they change their lifestyle and their mindset, then they start to realize how easy it was, and that everything that they was looking for was there the whole time. And it seems like that's the same perspective about your book.
It's the same perspective about the book. It's what I put into my music. I make music as well. I write poetry. I present that. I do choreography for events. So when I bring dancers together, all of it is about showing how we connect, how we're all one. The premise of God body. All is the body of God. All is the manifestation of God. All is God. God flows through things, in things, around things. It's all. There's absolutely no separation. There's no place where that which is called God is not. You know, there's things that we see, the table, human beings, the flesh, the camera, the lights, all these different things. There's also the space that gives it form that we can see it in. There's more of what we don't see than there is in what we do see. That what we don't see is also an aspect of who we are, you know. And so, and getting in tune with the breath, and you know, becoming aware of what we're putting in our body. So like it's, you know, I'm not saying that it's about being 100% totally eat what you want, but be conscious of what you're eating and why you're eating it.
Absolutely.
And it's because there are individuals here who are to experience, you know, the hardships, because that's part of their life path and their growth path. And certain people are on different paths of growth. Some people have a little bit more smooth path than others, you know. But those rough passes, if you can move through it and come to that awareness of self within that roughness, it's like, you know, how is the diamond made, right? The diamond, it comes through all that roughness, that cold. I mean, you got the diamond on your ass. Shout out to Nick Chela, that's my homie, old school skater.
Question: do you feel like, because you know, having a basic mentality and mindset in reference to like the average person and how we think in TV and version that perspective, and then you take that higher self perspective, like how in the higher self perspective, they say the spirit, you pick your parents, you pick your experiences, you pick all these different situations so that you can get that evolution to walk in that place with your creator. So that means that it has to be a 50-50 of you creating and your creator creating. And then they both like kind of connect though, because like you telling me that every situation is if you believe in destiny, that means that things are lined out, right? But then I guess our power of co-creating, then you can change the variables in that.
Yeah, I see it like that. I call it life is a premeditated freestyle.
Okay, that's nicely put.
You know, it's like there's certain markers and experiences that our soul is set to have. As we move along the path to that next marker, we have room to freestyle. But if we stray too far from that path, then our higher self goes, nudges us back on it. So oftentimes that nudge first comes as a whisper. You know, it's like, yo, back that way. If we don't hear it, then it's like, hey, that way, you know? And then if we still don't hear it, then we get smacked with a huge catalyst to get us back on that path, you know, to go towards that next goal point. And sometimes that big hit is the actual path, that goal point right there, because, you know, like, as we say, when we're making the diamond, you know, it takes all that friction and that roughness in order to form this particular jewel. And so on our path, those challenges that people want to avoid oftentimes are things that we need to go through in order to birth who we truly are. You know, there are many ways, and again, each person's life path is going to be different, so it's going to look differently for different people. That's why it's difficult. We can't pass judgment on another person's path because we don't know the end game of that particular soul in a particular incarnation. And so, but we can look at our life paths and what happens to us, and not judge it in terms of this is good, this is bad, this is, trying to avoid something that is difficult. if we have a more conscious perspective, then when difficulty occurs, our perspective is different. We can look at it like a puzzle, we can look at it like a game and learn how to, okay, I just need to adjust and make these little tweaks here in order to move through it. And sometimes, though, as we're going through that tweaking process, it's going to be difficult, it can be hard. But if we understand that ultimately it's for our growth, then we can return to center a lot quicker and learn the lessons from whatever that hardship is, whatever that catalyst is.
That's nicely put. Okay. Okay, so tell me a little bit about where you're from.
Okay, and this is funny, this question, because it's becoming more expansive as I learn more about the different layers of myself. It's
okay.
Like different aspects from different places. Physically, I was born and raised in San Francisco, California until I was 15. When I was 15, I moved to East Oakland, but I went to high school in Berkeley. And then after high school, when I went to go dance, I go up to Richmond, California. So physically there. My neighborhood in San Francisco is no longer in existence. Essentially, it's been completely gentrified.
Sorry to hear that.
There's small pockets, and it's happening everywhere, yes. Right? But now I currently live in Bali, Indonesia. So I've been there for almost 13 years.
Bali, okay.
Yeah, so I've been there in Bali for a longer period than I was in Oakland. I was in Oakland for 10 years before I moved back to San Francisco, and then I moved to Bali.
Isn't Indonesia like a chakra space, like one of the places?
They say it is one of the ley lines, one of the points for the third eye. Okay. Bali, one of the ley lines of the third eye meets there. Yeah. And if you go there, you can really experience just the spiritual essence of that particular land and the effect it has on the people and the effect it would have on a person who goes there, because Bali is a place that provides a mirror for you to look at where you're at and make the changes that you need to make.
So how has your energy changed from being in San Francisco versus being in Bali?
Bali, it's interesting. It's changed in the sense of knowing how I contribute to the planet in a greater sense.
So it helped you to connect more to the universe and
more to my purpose.
Okay.
Like what I'm here to do and what I'm here to offer to people.
And that is
through the arts, is to inspire people to realize that they are artists. That everyone is the creator. That everyone has the potential to create in the manner in which they see fit, and do it in a fresh ass way. Not just some mundane. Like you really can utilize your creative mind and creative spirit to create something that's really, really unique, because every single person is truly unique.
Do you think that process? Because I think one of the things that we take away from manifesting and willing in this realm is accountability. Because with the religion and everything, they provide you with these other amazing entities, whether you believe in them or not, to save you and to if you live a certain way, that they'll come down and they'll provide you with certain access. So that means that if you really live in that perspective, then that means you'll never really manifest, because you will forever give your accountability to somebody else. So what do you think about that point?
Well, I think everyone is manifesting, whether someone else is controlling what's being manifested, or they're controlling it. Ultimately, the information, whether it's coming from their higher self or coming from some external, source, it goes through them and comes into a manifestation process. So even that person who is super stressed out is, that thought process is manifesting something.
Absolutely.
Everything is in a manifestation process. And so with religions, and living in such a religious country, it's most Muslims anywhere in the world, but the island that I live on is majority Hindu.
Okay.
And
which is a religion that those are one of the religions that I can kind of like and relate to, because it's accountability based.
Right, it's different. So there's Buddhists as well. It's about how you're coming at things and what you do with yourself,
and what you put into the world.
So we want to be specific on what religions do what, because they're all
absolutely yes, right? They are. So you could, what is that called, like a Western and Eastern perspective? Like, so the Western religion, I would say that I don't really like, but what is that would be Eastern, like Buddhism and Hinduism, where that's
That's what they call it.
Okay.
But I mean, where is West and East coming from?
Absolutely.
Where's the starting point with that? You know, all are distortions of original religions at this point in time. You know, which were very much in harmony with the earth. You know, so when you get to the more esoteric aspects of each religion, then you see the true commonalities of the religion. But the surface aspect, which is controlled by priests or pastors or reverends, whoever they are, that's the aspect that's given to the masses. That's distorted. That keeps people at a certain level, which often is just, you know, to do their job, to serve society without causing too much conflict. Because if people dived into the true esoteric aspects of those religions, then everybody would be blossoming who they truly are. And governments, you know, they can't control that. You feel me? So that's the cap where the religions come in and control. And we know control is not love. So you can talk about love all day. Jesus said love this, or this said to love this. But if you're controlling, you're not in that.
So we let's look into the future. We since we're manifesting, you become a bestseller. Your books are in millions of homes. Everything is working out. Everybody wants to know what it is that you know, that special thing inside you that keeps your aura high and your energy high. What message would you give to the viewers, and would you give to the people that will support your book? Like, how can they come closer to finding themselves and to understanding that the answers, the success, the wealth, the health, everything that they're looking for is somewhere embedded inside them. It's like that show Yu-Gi-Oh! Remember, it was like a pharaoh, and it was a pharaoh, and it was like this white kid, but he was inside, a pharaoh was inside of him, and it was all these different type of like locks and blocks into the pharaoh's mind, and as he went through certain experiences, those doors open. So how would you suggest?
See, I've heard it. I never watched
Yu-Gi-Oh! I watched Yu-Gi-Oh! Years ago, and it's funny the work that I'm doing now. When you go back, it was a cartoon, but it was real trippy, and if you really pay attention to the details of it, it was like a whole different perspective.
I love anime, so I just haven't seen that one.
How do we suggest to the people, or our people, that those closed doors, the information that they're looking for? Because with people of color, sometimes a lot of the problems come with the unknown, not knowing your father, not knowing your history, not knowing your family, not knowing why you feel the pain because you forgot that you was connected to millions and millions of people, right? So how do you suggest something that we can do to help these people set themselves free?
I'm gonna try to do this concise, and I'm gonna be blunt, so those listening, don't take offense, but it's just real. Shut up. Shut up. You don't know. It's that simple. Shut up, get still, and listen to life. Listen to life. Don't talk about life. Stop talking about life. I'm saying I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing. But I've experienced so much that I've got to a point where I'm confirmed and I'm solid that I don't know it. But I still know a little something that I can impart to you. So I say, shut up. Get still. Understand self. Forget about what so-and-so is doing, they doing, who's doing. What are you, what am I doing? Ask yourself that. What am I doing? Do I know myself? Do I know what direction I'm moving in? Am I conscious of what direction I'm moving in? Am I making this choice, or is somebody else making this choice for me? Shut up, get still. Understand that everything we see in this particular society has been put in place to keep us from knowing who we truly are, from knowing that we are naturally connected with all that is. You cannot get connected with all that is in a conscious way and know yourself if you cannot shut up. Life will teach you when you shut up. Simple as that.
That was very nicely put. The vibration in that was on point, and I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna make my website a place where your book can be sold. But is there any other websites, social media, is there any other outlets that viewers or people that are interested in your book and want to hear more of that message and that high frequency, where can they contact you at? Where can they find you?
So Kamau Abayomi is my name, and it's KAMAUABAYOMI, and I have a website. My name KamauAbayomi.com.
Okay.
And it's the same name on all social media. So if you go on Facebook, I have my Facebook page, Kamau Abayomi. On Instagram, Kamau Abayomi. On Twitter, it's Pitch Black Gold. That was a rap game I used to use when I was, heavily into rhyming. My email is also pitchblackgold@gmail.
Okay.
So you can contact me in any of those particular lanes. And on my website has information about my book. You can download the ebook.
Okay.
Or place an order depending on where you are. If you're willing to cover the charges for me to send it, I'll send it.
Absolutely.
I also have information on my music. I have a music site. I DJ as well. I have some mixes. I have some of my recordings. I released some because I write poetry as well. And recently I've been doing a lot of stuff with Afro House producers. So there's a couple singles that have come out in the last few months. You can get information on that, the different shows that I do. I'm currently here in New York, just part of a tour. I went from BALI, I went back to the Bay, I went to Atlanta, Chicago, came here, and then tomorrow I'm going back to the Bay before going back to Asia.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, my website and on Facebook and stuff like that. It's all good.
Absolutely. I would say that this book will be sold on KoolforLife.com. It's been a pleasure meeting you and vibing out with you. And this is what it's all about, basically. KoolforLife.com. You could be from Asia, you could be from Brooklyn, you could be from California, you could be from anywhere in the world. If you have a high frequency and we can connect on all levels, and we could work together to make this world better. I thank you for tuning in. I can say to you that everything that you're looking for is inside of you. So if you want wealth, if you want health, if you want success for yourself or your family, it starts inside of you. And when you start to understand and believe that, then your life will start to change. And that's experience talking, because I used to ask the universe, I used to ask our creator for a lot of things. But when I learned how to quiet my mind, and when I started becoming more grateful and thankful for the things that I had, then people like my man and people like my friends that's recording this right now, and all the other beautiful spirits that I have in my life started to appear. So the work starts here. It starts inside, not in your church, not with your mother or your father, not with your brother, not with your community. It starts here, inside. If you start here first, everything will work itself out. My name is Kirrick Wise. I am the CEO of KoolforLife.com. This is my first interview, and this was a beautiful interview, because if I would have caught you a day later, you would have been back in Asia. So I thank you for staying tuned. I thank you for tuning in, and y'all have a beautiful day.
Peace.
There's something about you, lady, clear through a day so crazy. Baby, you a fine line walking, no hasty. Patience with the